We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. Jimmy, James, and Tom are back for more. Like Joey B, we're here for season 4 with Bengal guests and stories not heard before. There's Tony, Mark, and Jamie, as well as our charity, Hooter Nation joining from far and wide. Every Tuesday night, the guys are back at it live. By the fans, for the fans, from day one, it's time to have some fun. We're talking football with Bengal Jim and friends. We're talking football. We hope this never ends. The Bengal boys stop by to drop the speed. Don't get your popcorn ready and take a seat. Season 4 will end with the Lombardi.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition, the final edition of the season, I guess. We'll still be here and move forward. We got some other stuff Tom and I and a group will talk about as far as some other scheduled stuff, but this is our kind of final season ending episode. We got James Rapien coming on here in a little bit. We'll introduce him in a minute. Major announcement coming up at 8:30 with the charity update that we want to share with you. We got some Willie Anderson conversation. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about here in a little bit, but I think we already have James Rapien in the room. It looks like he's getting ready here. Dude's been working out. I don't know what it is, but he's in the gym every day, I think. But Tom, go ahead and introduce our guests. Let's get it off. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. As you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, get the questions in there. James has the answers to everything. He's going to drop major scoop tonight on the show. He's in the waiting room right now, shaking his head. But a lot of stuff to talk to James about tonight. So, Tom, go ahead and introduce James.
He's a great friend to all Bengals fans, and particularly to this show. So he's covered the Bengals on radio, on the internet. He has his own site. He runs everything for SI, and he gets the scoops and knows the team. He's one of the most objective writers. We're blessed, and we've got a very deep pool right now in Cincinnati. So without further ado, here is James Rapien.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
What's up, James? How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Appreciate you having me. I appreciate the introduction as well.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Tom. Kick it off here. We got a lot of stuff we want to dig into here, and with James.
James, for every NFL team, every offseason is critical. I don't think I've been surprised at how almost unanimous it's been with everybody identifying what we need. It's a question of how to get it. My first question to you is, we all agree nothing really matters for this franchise. All respect to Jake Browning. Nothing matters if Joe Burrow is hurt, if Joe Burrow is gone, if Joe Burrow's effectiveness is limited. What changes do you see in keeping number 9 safe up on the offensive line?
Well, I think the first things first. I think this offensive line did much better than people, at least post Joe Burrow injury, realize, and they are capable of playing at a pretty high level. And I honestly, and I've said this on all of my platforms, I think. I mean, if Burrow stays healthy, the Bengals are either back-to-back-to-back AFC North champs or right there, and we're talking about them being one of the contenders in the AFC. And I think a big part of that has to do with the way the offensive line would have been able to protect Burrow in most instances, how the Bengals play, which is that drop-back passing game. Now, 4-3 with Jake Browning, in the playoff hunt through week 17 with Jake Browning, even though Burrow's sidelined, I think there are some things that they can take from that. And to the Bengals coaching staff's defense almost, I think they did plan on being more under center early in the year going into training camp. And then Burrow got hurt, and his calf clearly wasn't right early on, so they were just trying to piece it together. So I do think we'll see some tweaks compared to what we saw from this offense with Joe Burrow in it. Maybe a little more under center, certainly some play action stuff, things like that. At the same time, when they're playing the Chiefs next year at Paycor Stadium in the AFC Championship game, or whoever you want to pencil in this scenario, they're going to pass it on 3rd and 8 with the game on the line. That's what the Bengals do, and I would expect them to be in shotgun. So they are who they are, but I do think that they'll make some tweaks, no doubt.
We'll get into personnel on the offensive line a little later, but flipping to the other side of the ball, the defense regressed this year. I don't think it's anyone blasting Lou Anarumo that all of a sudden he didn't know how to coach or how to scheme. But it's looked like from what happened in the back end with the safeties trickled down to almost all parts of the defense. The linebackers weren't as aggressive up on the line of scrimmage and in the running game. And certainly we didn't get the production from the defensive line that we had hoped for or wanted for. With so much focus being already put on the offense, right tackle, potentially wide receiver, although I don't think a starting wide receiver, tight end. What personnel changes are you looking for on the defense? What needs to be done to get this from one of the worst 5 or 6 defenses in the league to a playoff defense again?
The obvious need, and I know a lot of people, especially over the past 10 days, it has been, let's go after the safeties and let's go after Dax Hill and let's really make it known that we're mad at Dax. And that's fine. I think Dax certainly ended the season weak compared to the way he started it, which was really strong. 2 interceptions in the first 4 games. But you look at his numbers, and it's 11 pass breakups. I remember multiple dropped interceptions where he makes the play on the ball, and he just can't hang on. So if we look up and Dax Hill has 5 interceptions this year and 11 pass breakups and doesn't let George Pickens make him look silly by taking a bad angle, I do wonder if the narrative is a little different. So I think the Bengals front office, first things first, they're not going to panic about Dax Hill. They had him ranked really high in the draft. He played his first year at deep safety. I think he will be there again next year and start there. Obviously, Jordan Battle flashed as a rookie, a 3rd-round rookie. Those are your 2 starters at safety. I would be shocked if that's not the case. So where are they eyeing? I think it's pretty obvious. Defensive tackle. I think you're going to have to sink a lot of resources in there. Potentially multiple draft picks. Josh Chupo is a free agent. Obviously, DJ Reader is a free agent. And Zach Carter hasn't given you what you were hoping for at that spot. So maybe you do keep DJ Reader. Who knows? I think the door is at least cracked for a potential return, depending on what his market is when free agency opens in mid-March. But this team is going to have to spend money at defensive tackle, and they're already spending money on the defensive line with multiple guys, BJ Hill, Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendrickson, and they're going to have to do it again at DT, and they're probably going to have to draft a guy or 2. So that's where I look. If you can get that defensive tackle room back to where you had it a few years ago, where you have the Larry Ogunjobi as the pass rusher on the interior, a guy like DJ Reader, who's your run-stopping nose, BJ Hill as well, who's kind of a master of both and can do a little bit of both for you, you feel much better about this defense, especially because I do think this young secondary as a whole will develop moving forward.
James,
appreciate you joining us. If we can switch to the coaching side, we know Coach Lou was a hot commodity last year, one of the finalists for the Arizona job. Doesn't seem like he has the same smoke this year. There was a list of 4 defensive coordinators mentioned for the Tennessee job that just opened up today. Coach Lou wasn't one of them. We've seen Brian Callahan's name mentioned the most with Carolina and the Chargers today. If you had to look, is it safe to say Coach Lou is going to be back because of the lack of openings? And if we were to lose somebody on the coaching side, would Brian Callahan be the guy?
It is such a deep coaching pool this year. And Vrabel certainly throws a wrench into it as well. So you have Mike McDonald, who was probably the top defensive coordinator, defensive mind that was going to get looks. Well, now he's not. Now it's Mike Vrabel. Vrabel's ahead of him. Oh, and by the way, Bill Belichick, who's the greatest coach of all time, could be available via trade, according to rumors, and Atlanta's looking at him. So if you want a defensive mind, there's probably at least 3 guys just there, big names, huge names, that are in the mix for head coaching jobs. And obviously we know, just being a defensive coordinator, the odds are stacked against you a bit. Heck, I was surprised Arizona went with a defensive mind last year. I was surprised that Lou was a finalist over, example, Brian Callahan, because they had a young quarterback and because it is an offensive league to a great extent. So I do think that if I had to wager, I would say Lou would be back, but it only takes one team. And who knows? Who knows what job opens up? Heck, Chicago could open up tonight. I would not be shocked at all if the Bears move on from their coach. Not that they would look for a defensive mind, but you just don't know. So I think there's still enough uncertainty that I don't want to declare Lou back, but I do think that there is a pretty good chance that he is back. And I do wonder about Brian, because I think Brian, he fits a lot of what Carolina's probably looking for, which is a young offensive mind that can work with a young quarterback, get the most out of him. And for the Chargers, everyone's tying him to Jim Harbaugh and those two. Are the Chargers going to pay Jim Harbaugh $20 million? Because that's the price tag. If I'm Jim Harbaugh, I just won a national championship. It's going to cost you $20 million. And whether that's Chicago or Los Angeles with the Chargers or whoever else is interested, Washington, they have to be willing to meet that price, or I'll just go back to Michigan. So that might be appealing for the Chargers to get someone like Callahan, who's been an NFL lifer, who knows it, who's worked with a great quarterback in Joe Burrow and came this close to winning a Super Bowl. That might be the right guy for Justin Herbert. And honestly, that's probably, from a Bengals standpoint, a worst case scenario, because I think he would get a lot out of Justin Herbert. I think he would make that Chargers franchise go a bit and take them to a level that we haven't seen during this Justin Herbert era.
Tony? Appreciate it, James. Tony?
What up, Tony?
Hey, James, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Hey, so we all know with our division, the AFC North, it seems to be one of the most challenging and most difficult divisions in the league. We're 9-8, and if you look around the other league, 9-8's getting them in the playoffs, and obviously with us, it is not. What do you think the Bengals need to do or look at in order to compete within our own division?
Yeah, this has been a topic for weeks now. I think after that first Pittsburgh game, certainly after the second one, when there was hope and the Bengals are riding high and the Steelers were not, and you go there and it ends up going the way it did. I think a couple of things. One, you would build the Bengals differently if it was Jake Browning at quarterback versus Joe Burrow. You just would. And when you don't have Burrow, they look dramatically different than they would versus a team like Pittsburgh when they don't have Kenny Pickett, or a team like the Browns when they don't have Deshaun Watson, because the Bengals put more on Burrow's plate. They build around him a certain way to maximize him, maximize everything. And so I think it's easy to say, all right, and I'm not saying you're saying this, but there's been plenty of people, the Bengals aren't built to win the AFC North. I just watched them win back-to-back division titles. I think they would have swept Pittsburgh had Burrow stayed healthy. They had a lead on the Ravens before Burrow got hurt. And I'm not saying that it's perfect, because there are things that I'll get to in a second where they can get better. But I don't think we should suddenly declare that the best division since 1935, by the way, where every team finishes above 500. This Bengals team just can't win in the division. I think they can. I think the team that's given them the most fits is Cleveland, and it would be nice if Mike McDonald would get a head coaching job somewhere, because he's certainly given the Bengals some fits since taking over for Wink Martindale in Baltimore at DC. So first thing, I think they need to get some big plays out of the running game and explosiveness there, because right now the Bengals are so dependent on Burrow to create big plays. And when you go up against the Browns, well, the Browns, they have a pass rush, and you know what else they have? They have guys that can cover. So what can you do to combat that? You run at the pass rush, and you have home run threats that put pressure on the back end that make them think twice about doubling T or doubling Jamar, or doubling whoever. And I think that's an element that this Bengals team during this entire run hasn't had, an explosive running game. We've seen signs of it, and we saw signs of it with Chase Brown towards the end of the season, but that is something I think they certainly need. And it would just take pressure off of Chase, take pressure off of Higgins, take pressure off of Burrow, and it would make opposing defenses think a little bit more about that. And then they obviously have to be able to stop the run. The Steelers want to run the ball because the quarterback stinks. The Browns, they want to run the ball because they've had 52 starting quarterbacks this year. Like that's how it is. And even when Watson comes back next year, he's not a top 8 quarterback. They're going to want to run the ball again. And so stop the run and then be able to win without Burrow carrying you. And I said that after week 1, and people thought it was crazy. Like, oh, well, they have to find a way to do that. And I think that's explosive running game and having an explosive running game like we've seen with the Dolphins at times this year. Teams like that where you can win a different way if your quarterback isn't playing at a really, really high level for whatever reason.
Yeah. James, we'll do one or two more. We'll get to a lot of viewer questions here.
Sure.
I guess what's been really interesting this year, the most scrutinized position group, in my opinion, as you kind of look at it, is that tight end position. It's Sample, Irv Smith, Wilcox, Hudson. I mean, not all game changers there, man. Where do you see the direction they go there? Are they happy with these guys? Do they go in another direction? But this tight end position group seems like it could be better.
I think in their perfect world, they would find the next Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid. They really loved Kincaid. Find that guy. And does it have to be in round 1? I don't know. Heck, they like Trey McBride, and he looks really darn good too. And he fell to round 2, just not far enough to them. They're drafting a little earlier this year. And so can you find that guy? Because I do think if you bring back Drew Sample, you bring back Tanner Hudson, and then you get a young piece in that room, you could feel good about the Bengals tight end room next season and feel like it's moving in the right direction, that it has the high-end talent that can make plays, but also the stability of veterans that know where to go and know what to do. And so I think that's part of it. And the other part of it would be if you have a rookie in there, it's probably an inexpensive room, which is part of the balance. So it's certainly one of their major weaknesses, and it's something they have to address. And I do wonder, do they go the free agency route? I think this is the year they finally draft a tight end, because it's been a while. They were certainly open to it last year. It didn't work the way they had hoped. They like Laporta a lot too, by the way. They just felt like 28 was a little rich, and it turns out it wasn't, and it would have been a steal, but you can't go back and change it.
Right. Jamie?
Yeah, let's go through a couple of viewer questions here.
Sure.
Let's see.
And I'm just now seeing, I think Tom had another one. As you're looking for the viewer questions, Tom, go ahead, buddy.
Okay, go ahead.
No, James, and real quick, again, both sides of the line. If Lou does come back like you're thinking, do you think some of those weaknesses we saw toward the end of the season, like DJ Turner looked fantastic for a rookie, a good part of the year, did have a little bit of a rough December, had some rough plays. Chitty came back and was starting at the end. But you see, his development and those safeties. I mean, Lou is a fantastic communicator and teacher of the defensive back position. Do you think a year 2 of all these guys playing together, and that becomes a strength for this team?
It certainly could. I think looking at this defensive backfield, we saw how Cam Taylor-Britt developed. And with DJ Turner, for much of his rookie year, he was ahead of where Cam was, because Cam was hurt at the start of his rookie year, didn't look as good in camp as DJ did. And then I think he hit a little bit of a rookie wall. He's a lighter player. I think he'll probably hit the weight room, get some protein in him this offseason, get stronger, but keep that explosiveness and in that speed. And I believe in DJ Turner. I think he's going to be really, really good in this league. I pencil him in as the starter opposite Cam Taylor-Britt, and obviously Mike Hilton will be in the nickel. And this secondary can grow together. And I do think one thing is important. Cam Taylor-Britt's the vocal leader of the young guys in that secondary. But you look at the other ones, they've all been a part of winning teams. DJ Turner and Dax Hill, obviously part of a huge, really great defenses for Michigan that went to the college football playoff. Jordan Battle, Alabama. I think it'll come around. I think they'll play at a high level. And I do think that if they don't do that by next year, then we will be looking at, all right, a year from now, they need to make some changes in the secondary. And not that they won't add a corner or add another safety, but I do think that the starters are kind of set right now, and it's about those guys developing. And I do expect them to develop under Lou Anarumo. People forget about Jesse Bates and where he was at in 2018 and 2019. Part of it was because the Bengals had a losing record and they weren't paying attention as closely as they are now. And They got used to Jesse Bates being as great as he was. So I'm not saying Dax will be Jesse or Jordan will be Jesse, but I do think that they'll be much better on the back end next season.
All right, James, we got some viewer questions. First one I'll throw up. Craig, Beerfest Craig here. Post-game Tyler Boyd press conference or presser sure made it sound like he expects to be leaving. They're talking in the field too pre-game. Is the general belief that he's gone?
Yeah. Yep. And it sucks. He was one of the first Bengals players that I built a real rapport with in the locker room. In the past 8 years, they've flown by, and being there every day when Tyler was drafted. And so you've seen him grow. He's made a heck of a lot of big plays, but I do think that he'll get a bigger offer elsewhere. And who knows? Never say never. I thought Pratt would be out the door last year too, and he wasn't. So never say never.
Right.
But I think it's a long shot right now for Tyler.
Here's something we talk about a lot on this show and in our group chats back and forth. Can you explain why the Bengals have such a hard time drafting and developing trench players? That seems to everyone keeps saying is we need to win in the trenches. How do we do that?
You got to invest premium picks in the trenches. The Bengals, I was 3 the last time they drafted a defensive tackle in the first round. They did with Myles Murphy, and I thought he was coming along as the season went along, and they're going to be banking on Myles. Speaking of a rookie that they're banking on, they need Myles to take a big leap this offseason and really generate some pass rush opposite Trey Hendrickson next year, and we'll see if he can do that. But offensive line-wise, Cordell Volson's a 4th rounder. They whiffed on Jackson Carman. We knew it at the time. He had multiple opportunities. It didn't feel like a good pick at the time. I'll say that. You never want to say it's a whiff. Didn't feel like a good pick at the time, and it clearly wasn't, and it hasn't worked. Jonah, I liked at the time. I think he's been solid. Now, will he be back? I think that's a long shot. You're paying 3 veteran linemen right now, and so I think it's going to be hard to keep him, partially because I think he's going to get paid big money on the open market because it's hard to get free agent tackles. So, yeah, I think they need to invest premium picks and don't overthink it. Creed Humphrey was sitting there for the Bengals when they drafted Jackson Carman. Creed Humphrey was clearly a better prospect, and it did not take a scout that went to both colleges to evaluate those guys. They traded down from 38 to 46. Defensive tackle Christian Barmore was there, who's clearly the best defensive tackle available and would have been a perfect option alongside DJ Reader, and he would have had a year to develop behind Larry Ogunjobi and BJ Hill as well. So the options have been there. They've chosen the wrong path in some instances, and they end up with Tyler Shelvin in that draft. Well, obviously that didn't work. I do think Cordell's developed, and I think he'll start at left guard again next year, and will continue to play at a solid level. I thought he's ended the season much better than he started it, and saw improvement as the year went along. But they have to invest in premium assets to get better trench play. There's no doubt.
Switching over to special teams, Jennifer's asking, as Brad Robbins is a rookie, do you think the Bengals look for another punter or stay with Brad?
I would be shocked if they don't bring in some kind of competition. It might be Bengal Jim. Jim, how's your leg?
I'm ready to go. I was shooting for that right tackle spot, James. Damn.
No, come on.
It's
It's not 1989, Jim. We got to move you to punter now. But
James, here's the problem with that. Jimmy cannot hold. He cannot hold your PATs and field goals at all.
Well, then you're out.
Hands.
Darren Simmons will let you know. And that's where Brad – I do think that's where Brad has an edge over whoever they bring in. He was a great holder. Evan McPherson was awesome this year. He perfect from extra points, perfect inside 50 yards, 7 of 12 from 50, and had some really tough kicks that he did make. And we obviously know how clutch he is with the game on the line. So can he fix the punting part? That was really solid during training camp. I'm surprised he struggled as much as he did. I like Brad. I think he'll be on the team to start camp, but he's going to have to win that job because I would be shocked if they didn't have competition for him waiting.
Hey, James, I will be the first ambidextrous punter on the Bengals this year. I'm just telling you, I can kick with both legs. I'm ready to go. Ready to go.
Can you kick 50 yards? That's all I need.
Let's bring up something that I see. I'm not on. I don't do the Twitter thing like these guys do, but I'm on the Facebook fan pages.
Okay.
And there's a big blue
Good
sky
luck.
Yeah, there's a big
Ooh.
blue sky idea out there that there's a chance that this gentleman comes to Cincinnati. What's your thoughts on this craziness?
I love it. I love it. I love the idea of it. I think for it to be realistic, the Bengals might have to hire me to be GM, which they're not going to do. But no, I love pushing the envelope, and that's a way to do that. Now, what will it take? You would probably have to franchise tag T, give him T 18, and next year's 1 to get the conversation started.
Yep.
And then you got to pay him, and you got to pay Jamar, and obviously you're paying Burrow. By the way, who cares? It's the 2 top receivers in the league. You do it, but I think it's unrealistic. But the dream, you never say never. I would be shocked. I would be shocked, but I love that it's become a thing, because I remember mentioning that on the road to some of the writers last year, just kind of jokingly on a Saturday night before the Tampa game, and now it's kind of like a thing that multiple people have thought of and brought up on social media.
Lisa's asking what your gut feeling is about T. Like, obviously, everyone has to sort of say we want him back. We expect him to be back. They're not going to say anything right now. But what's your gut feeling? Is he back?
He'll be back under the franchise tag. Now, I personally, I hate that. I hate it because it's the Jesse Bates mold of what you're doing. Hopefully they sign him, by the way. I would re-sign T. I would build around Burrow, T, Jamar. And I think you can do that and build a winner, especially if you are investing in the trenches early. They've invested at wide receiver early, and they got it right. So pay those guys and now start to find the right trench players to help offset it, because you had to pay the trenches after that Super Bowl run. Anyways, it's a huge conversation. But as far as T goes, if you can't get an extension done, I absolutely think you tag him. It'll be roughly $21.5 million, probably a little more than that, under 22 this year. Do you want to pay him that and then him walk? I love the Orlando Brown Jr. signing, but adding him meant that you get nothing in return for Jesse Bates. And I get why they kept Bates, and I get why they played him on the tag, all of those things. But I'm not doing that with T now. If you tag him, I would know it going into the combine, which is in late February in Indianapolis, and I would make it known, hey, we're open for business when it comes to T. Higgins. And I would see what I could get. Will Carolina give up the 33rd overall pick? They don't have a first rounder. They have the 33rd pick. They're desperate for weapons. Could you get the 33rd pick and their 4th rounder? You might be able to. They're desperate, and they need a weapon for Bryce Young, because right now he is throwing to Bengal Jim in Carolina. So I think that's what I would consider doing. Knowing their history, though, I would be shocked if they did that. I think they will tag him. They will try to negotiate a long-term extension. If that doesn't work by that July deadline, that tag extension deadline, then they'll make him play out the 2024 season here in Cincinnati, which, oh, boo-hoo, $20+ million, and he gets to catch passes from Joe Burrow. Sign me up.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not going to get rid of their number 2 and number 3 receiver in the same damn year. So I tend to agree with you, James, but it'd be interesting to see what happens with T.
Now, what's interesting about it too, let's say they tag T, they don't consider trading him, but then in the draft, I don't know, Neighbors from LSU falls to 18 for whatever reason. Won't happen. It doesn't happen in mocks, but he's clearly the top player on their board, so they take him. Well, then they could be open for business. It could change things, and I think they were kind of that way with Jonah Williams last year. If they had gotten a tackle like an Anton Harrison in round 1, which they were open to, then I think they ultimately trade Jonah then. And obviously that didn't happen, and so they keep Jonah. And I think that's what could happen with T.
Tony had a question for you, James.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of questions, comments, rumors around Browning, and do we see him, because he's obviously proved himself that he could be a quarterback somewhere. Do we see the Bengals utilizing that in some type of potential trade movement or anything?
Hey, if Atlanta wants to give you a top 10 pick for Jake Browning, I think what he would be worth is a day 3 pick. And a lot of that has to do with his value. Like, let's say you get a 5th rounder for him, and the Bengals would say, we would just rather have Jake Browning with our quarterback coming off of an injury, have someone that if If Burrow does get nicked up for 3 weeks, he can keep you afloat, and he's confident that he can do that. And he can do that now. They didn't know that early in the season when Burrow was battling through that calf. They had no clue what Browning was going to be. And they thought they knew what he could be, but he hadn't done it. And so now they know that, and there's value. And he's going to make $915,000 next year, which is a great value, one of the better bargains for a backup quarterback in the league. And so I think he will be in Cincinnati being Joe Burrow's backup. And I would be shocked if Mike Brown signed off on any type of deal for anything short of something outrageous that no other team would offer.
James, if you think they knew that, do you think Burrow played those games?
I still do, because I don't think that going into week 1,
Right.
they were aware that it was going to be like that. I think they thought he was pretty close to 100%, maybe not 100, but close to it. And then you get out there, the rain's weird, and it's just a weird game. Obviously, awful matchup. We've talked about how the Browns match up with the Bengals, and it's just awful. And so they're like, okay, let's figure it out here against Baltimore. And they got close before he retweaked it, and he tweaks it at the end of the game, and that's when it's like, all right, you're 0-2. Is that when you go to Jake Browning to start Monday Night Football, even if they did know?
Right.
And instead they throw it 50 times with Burrow, and which I was shocked by, and it works. They win the game. So no, I think it would have played out the same way.
Right.
But it would be nice to have that, because then maybe 2 weeks prior to the regular season, you're like, hey, we're going to give Joe another 2 weeks. Then you can make that call versus the week of, because I think they thought going into that Cleveland game that Joe was pretty close to 100%.
Interesting. So Jamie asked that question because he just wants to make sure Jake Browning's girlfriend's back for next year, the whole season. So,
man,
not sure.
it is wild. It is wild. She's been shown every game, but suddenly this week she got more attention than normal. I don't know why.
Yep, no doubt. A couple quick things. I think, Tom, you had one more?
Yeah, we've talked about, the tight end position, wide receiver, keeping Joe safe, building that fortress of solitude for him, and the running game. But how much does his passing game improve? Because he really didn't get a chance to play with Chase Brown this year. How much fun do you think he'll have with him next year over 17 games?
Yeah, I think that's a huge element. And I think that running back room, much like the tight end room, and they could bring back Mixon and Chase Brown, there will be another face in there. And Brown can be the explosive back, but it would be nice to have another option and another element. And we'll see if they can do that. But I think Joe's going to love playing with guys that can be explosive out of the backfield. And I'm not sure. I think there's some uncertainty in that room about what happens, with Mixon, his contract, the cap hit, all of those things. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But go ahead.
No, that's a great segue. The one player that we haven't talked about is Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Where do we see him going?
I think he's obviously the Tyler Boyd era, and it was interesting. Joe talked with Elise Jesse after the game and just discussing for us and discussing all of these different things, his thoughts about Boyd and his thoughts about their time together and how much it means and what the season meant and all of those things. And you look up and you do wonder, because I just said pay defensive tackle, talk about premium picks in the trenches and assets in the trenches. I wonder if you try to get cheaper at running back. And that's a question that's just, it's going to happen. He's going into the last year of his deal. I know he took a pay cut. It's still like an $8 million cap hit. I do wonder. I don't know what they'll do, but there is an out in his contract for a reason. They put that there for a reason. And so I think that is a question that might not get answered right away, much like last year. But I know they were in on running back in the draft. Obviously, they took one with Chase Brown, and he showed flashes towards the end of last season. I think that they'll add another running back in free agency and or the draft, maybe two, who knows? I think that's really dependent on Joe Mixon. But I do think that room, the Chris Evanses of the world, it's going to evolve a bit, and we're going to see some new faces in there for sure.
Yeah, interesting. So we'll go ahead and close it out here. I guess we've hit every damn position group here tonight, James. So we appreciate your time, buddy. It means a lot. let's talk about Joe Burrow just for a second before we get you out of here. What are you hearing inside the stadium there? Seems like things are progressing. Obviously, it's way early, but they're projecting him, what I think was like 3 or 4 weeks until we can start doing some throwing a ball around. I guess it's 3 or 4 months, I think I heard.
Yeah, so OTAs. The OTAs are his goal. It's to start throwing, and I think this is one of those things where there's a blessing and a curse. The curse is it's a pretty darn serious wrist injury that he suffered, and it's going to take time. The blessing is you have the time. You don't need to rush. Training camp isn't in March. You don't need him to be throwing 60 yards downfield in April. It doesn't matter. You might draft Brock Bowers, and you might land this awesome receiver out of Washington who just declared today. And I'm not talking about the top guy, number one. I'm talking about the other guy. You might add all these weapons, but he doesn't need to throw it to him until camp. And how do you get Joe Burrow 100% for camp? I think that's got to be their goal. So, I think he'll make a full recovery for sure.
Good. Look, one thing for sure, everybody that's watching right now live, it is definitely going to be a fun and interesting offseason here. Free agency, draft, Joe Burrow's rehab, what they do with T and Boyd. And so it's football's 12 months a year now, guys. So we love watching it, and we'll be there kind of keeping an eye on it and following you, James, as you kind of report out on things. So before you get off here, man, tell everybody where they can find you on your social media platforms and your pod and everything else you're doing.
I just got Ryan asked which Power Ranger is my favorite. It's the Green Power Ranger is my favorite. I can't get the Green Ranger helmet because it costs like $500 because it's sold out everywhere. Anyways, you could get me at allbengals.com, the Locked On Bengals podcast, Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube. I've seen a bunch of comments about Enter the Jungle. I certainly appreciate that. The book that's out right here above my shoulder that you can get at CincinnatiBengalsBook.com. But I will say this, fellas, I appreciate you guys always having me on and all the kind words. This offseason is so huge for this Bengals team and this franchise as they build around Joe Burrow and finding the right pieces to plug around him. And so, I think that there won't be many rest days this offseason. I think this is going to be very much how does Duke Tobin, Mike Brown, Katie Blackburn and company build a Super Bowl champion around Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, we got it, man. Hey, it means a lot you being with us, James. It really does. A lot of insight. One of the best follows on social media. We appreciate you, buddy. Have a great rest of the year, man. We'll be talking again.
Sounds good. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
See you, buddy. Man, we hit every damn position group with James, man. He killed it.
Surprised I didn't ask about the concession stand management of that conversation.
Damn it, that's a good question. We could have asked some stuff about it.
And he's so objective. He can see. I mean, when it's bad, he'll shoot it straight when it's bad, but he doesn't take any pleasure in anything going wrong. And if there are things going right, he's happy to point out. He's a true breath of fresh air.
Yep.
Tom, you got to admire. Usually we have Jamie admirers on here. Tonight we have Tom admirers. You're looking incredible tonight. I don't know if Jordan's a guy or a girl, but you're looking incredible.
Yeah, I'm actually logged in as Jordan on YouTube right now. So,
real quick, we're gonna pull Craig on here just a minute. I just want to hit a couple things before we pull Craig on and talk about some charity announcement we're getting ready to make. In the chat area right now, I did put a link in there for everybody, guys. It is that was the wrong picture, Tony. My bad. Tony is obviously fan of the year for the Cincinnati Bengals 2023, but he is also this year they're doing something different. You can vote for Tony. So the fan of the year will be voted on of the NFL. Of all 32 NFL fans of the year are being voted on. The link is in the chat area. Click on there. I know I voted multiple times myself. Keep voting. I know we just Ted Karras had 2.4 million votes for the Walter Payton Man of the Year charity challenge, won $35,000 for his charity. Tony needs 2.4 million votes for NFL Fan of the Year. So make sure you click the link in the chat area and vote real quick and do that for him. And then one other thing before we get to messed that up. Sorry, I'm trying to do this quickly. The other thing, One of the other charity things we're doing is FOCO approached us probably late August, early September. They partnered with us all year. As you know, we've been giving away a lot of FOCO items at the tailgate and on the pod. But they did a bobblehead. Guys, I didn't ask them to do a bobblehead of me. I promise you that.
Basically, they said Jamie's head wasn't going to fit on it. That's why they had to do yours, right?
Yeah. They did this bobblehead, and basically 100% of the proceeds, the money that they were going to give to us, we're funneling right to the Ken Anderson Alliance, which is about $10 a bobblehead that will go directly to the Ken Anderson Alliance. There's only 224 of these bobbleheads. We're almost at 85 or 90 sold in like 4.5 days. So it's just crazy. I mean, I'm not the face painter and the crazy hat guy, and you would think that would be a better choice for the first one, but they're kind of using that as kind of a guinea pig, and kind of, we're pushing to make sure we get Tony one next year too. That would be fun. So make sure you buy a bobblehead if you can. They wanted to get that out before Christmas, but they didn't get started on that piece of it until a little bit later in the year. But 10% goes to the Ken Anderson Alliance for those bobbleheads. Let's go ahead and James, let's go ahead and bring on Craig, and James, I'll let you kind of kick off this conversation if you're all right with that.
Sure, more than happy to. As everyone knows, Craig is our a lot of behind-the-scenes work. You'll see him at a lot of the home games. He is known as Beer Fest.
He deserves a full screen here. He deserves a full screen.
Okay, full screen. But was very instrumental.
Widescreen. Thank you for not saying widescreen, that I need a widescreen.
We're just going to let Craig do his own introduction here. Anyways, the partner in crime that's not on the show, but does so much behind the scenes. And we wanted to bring him on tonight here as we wrapped up the 2023 season with a couple big announcements. Craig's instrumental, as we said, with not only tailgate stuff, but a lot of other stuff, and is a huge part of the money raised, not only the home tailgates, but the away tailgates. So it was only fitting that he comes on here for the season finale of 2023, and we talk about the revenue raised from both home and away tailgates. So without further ado, Craig, take it away.
Me take it away?
You take it away. Let's see. We've got the graphic that we showed earlier in the show that we're going to pop up.
Well, I mean, I had a wonderful time at all the away tailgates. I hope everyone else did, and home and away. And the home ones were incredible this year, and our partnership with Smale Park made it even better this year, I think. I think we can all agree on that. Getting that amount of space to be able to include the trucks of Skyline and Donato's and all the different Bengal alum booths, I think really added to the whole thing. And I think we'll just grow into that more next year. And the away tailgates were just something totally different there. We went to a totally different level this year. So pretty awesome.
Yeah, $25,000, and I think that was 10 different charities that we looked at. We all came up with a charity, a few charities that really meant something to us individually. And this is the biggest one-time donation at one time we've ever done, guys. We've done a lot of different donations over the year, but that is just an amazing list of absolutely amazing charities and nonprofits that help out, not just locally, but I think we have a couple that are kind of regionally in there as well. But Craig, I mean, you said it, man, these tailgates have really taken off, not just locally with that Smale Park and the partnership with the Park District, but man, the Nashville tailgate, the Arizona tailgate, the Jacksonville tailgate, it's just phenomenal. Talk a little about a few of those. Some folks didn't get a chance to get out there.
When you can we apparently can draw 1,500 people to an away tailgate now. And the team representatives, because we had to work with the team down in Jacksonville to get that unbelievable venue on the waterfront there. And they said they've never seen any team do anything close to this in terms of the size of an event that we were able to put together down there in a different state is just phenomenal. And it's kudos to everybody and everybody that listens and just the community we built to pay attention to this channel as to what's going to go on at the away games at the big tailgates. So just an amazing thing. And I think people need to understand just how unique this is in the league.
Craig, it looks like your bourbon cup is levitating right in front of us.
I was about to ask.
It has a little indentation on the bottom, so it can sit right on my kneecap.
Oh, okay. Well, it looked like a magic trick there. That was pretty impressive. Oh man, but you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we're talking about the away tailgate, and literally a church trusted us with the property in Phoenix. We had a gentleman that was overwhelmed in Nashville. I'd never seen anything like it. He was prepared, he's gracious, and then we look at Jacksonville and pumping water out all morning of that tailgate because of the monsoons that they had 2 to 3 days prior. So, it certainly was a team effort to pull all those off. But again, it's a reputation. Yes, it's the amount of people, but we go in there, we don't trash the place, we don't destroy the place. Everybody has a good time. It's not only Bengals fans. There's a mix in of opposing fans. We saw that at home for Indianapolis. We see it on the road everywhere we go too. It's not opposing fans are there as well.
And it's affordable at $35 instead of some that are charging $100.
Yeah. True story.
Hey, one thing I would like to just bring up is I got so many comments as we traveled to all these tailgates and help put these all together. Is the fans, our fan base travels well anyway, but those that can't travel, they see us on social media and they follow us and they see our tailgates and what we do. They are so pleased to be able to have one closer to them that they can come and have that experience. So it's awesome to be able to put this on as a group and let everyone have an opportunity to do what we do and to share what we like to do. And it's awesome. So you did an awesome job with Jacksonville. That was all you, brother. And, there were so many accolades for you and what you did there. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, there were people at the Arizona one, a lot of people from Washington State. So the whole West Coast people that can't come to Cincinnati made the trip to Arizona. There was a lot of people from the West Coast that live out there.
And it's going to continue next year. This isn't a signing off and saying, hey, this was the last year. This is going to continue next year. Obviously, we know the cities that we're going to be traveling to. We don't know the dates, so logistically, we'll make it all work as we plan ahead. So this is going to continue. Again, whether it's Kick bringing the music down, whether it's Craig organizing the drinks, whether it's the charities that we get involved from the local places. So much goes into it, and again, it's going to continue. And as much fun as we have in Lottie every Sunday for the home games, the away games are fun as well, and that's going to continue, as Tony said, for those that can't make it to Cincy, and we're going to their backyard to bring the Bengals party to them. Go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, man. I just guys, look, man. I sit back and I see the work that gets put into this. James, Craig, Tony, all of us, man, the amount of work that goes into this, people cannot comprehend. But what I love about our mentality, it's, hey, we do it for you guys. We love watching people come together, having fun, enjoying each other. And I love it's a family-friendly atmosphere on the road and at home. I have never seen more kids at tailgates in my life than what you see when we bring this stuff to the table. I mean, we had a dance off down in Jacksonville. We had, I don't know, 12 to 15 kids under 15 years of age come up and do the dance off. There was a lot of kids who didn't want to come up. They were shy to do it, but that's not something you see. It's not a bunch of dudes drinking, hammering a bunch of beers, getting pounded, right? It's a lot of families, a lot of kids. I love that. I think the NFL loves it, and I know the Cincinnati Bengals absolutely love that atmosphere. So it's good stuff. So the tailgate's been awesome. And again, none of this happens without you guys being part of this. And we appreciate you guys being part of every minute of everything we do. It's just fun to watch, fun to see. The other thing, I think we want to go ahead and make this announcement. So we did the $25,000. This is our the money that we had in the kitty after the season was over with. We took a big, giant chunk of that. This $25,000 is going to these 10 foundations, these nonprofits, these 501c3s. And that's all because of you guys. So thank you very much. That is the biggest one-time donation we've ever done. I think the biggest one beyond that, I don't even know, maybe 10 grand. Might have been the other one, James, somewhere around there, Tony. I don't know. But let's talk about our the podcast is not done. This is our season ending podcast. We'll have some stuff going on in March and draft and free agency. Tom's going to talk about that just here in a minute, but this is the end of our fundraising for the year. Our new season for fundraising starts today. Call it tomorrow. But Tony, give an update with that $25,000 and the money that was raised for at the tailgate Sunday for the the first responders.
Yeah.
The first responders. Give the total. I'll let you kind of do the intro. This is last year we did about 132, and what was our number? What did we wind up with this year, Tony?
So we had a goal of 150K this year. It was a pretty hefty goal, we thought, when we first started off this year. But with our tailgate for the Tri-State peer group, which earned just a little bit over $700, $800, and then with the 25,000 that this group is with the tailgates and everything that you guys help fund, I'm glad, and it's just a blessing, and it actually brings tears in my eyes to say that we are at over 160,000K.
Wow.
This year. So thank you, Who Dey Nation. Thank you to the people on the screen. Just thank you, everyone, because we thought we wouldn't get to 150, and here we are. We killed it by 11 grand. So I'm kind of excited to have our conversations here at our end of our financial talks that we're going to be having here over the next couple of weeks, and setting that new goal for us for next year. So I'm thinking 175 or 200 might be our goal, but we'll talk about that. But again, just thank you, everyone. It's just freaking amazing.
You guys do realize that's like $1 million Canadian, right?
What is that? What is that in loonies?
Yeah, speaking of that, we did have some Brantford folks at the tailgate Sunday that
And you
were
took
looking
good
for
care of them.
you.
You took good care of them. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate
one was a Browns fan, but we were even nice to him as well. But incredible numbers, 160,000. As Tony said, a goal was 150. Just simply shattered that, and that's again through the generosity of Bengals fans from all over the globe. Whether it's a duck race, whether it's extending a tailgate, whether it's a raffle, whether it's Jungle to the Hall, which we'll talk more about. All that totaled up from the money raised goes to charities, and excited to announce that number. Jimmy?
I wanted to add the 8 donors to the Give Butter campaign that really got the season started for us, especially when we took on Smale and that big expense. Just want to read through their names real quick. I'm sorry I don't have the exact thing of what your company name was, but we're going to do something postseason here that's going to honor all these people. But Tanner McFall, Victor Lawwell, Paul Flynn, John Strouser, April Fleming, Jacob Walker, Peter Mengel, and Angela Roth were all $1,000 donors to the Give Butter campaign at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
Cool.
and that was huge, because without that, guys, there was a huge expense for the Smale Park. Without that, we couldn't have been able to pull this off. But that was huge, getting us going on there. The thing I
got
want
a
to
question real quick for you guys for next year. Jimmy, you said next year starts tomorrow, or I guess in a couple hours. Craig, Jimmy, Tony, James, what's the goal for next year? Throw out a figure now.
No, it's 100,000. It's 100,000. We can exceed it as much as we want. Tom, quit putting pressure on us, damn it.
175.
Only a 20% increase this
Thank
year.
you, Tony.
You know what,
Thank you, Tony.
Tony, I like
Tony's got the stones to do it.
I like 175. That's a good.
Yeah.
Here we go, 175.
Here's the thing you have to remember, guys. We're going further next year. Further means more tailgates. More tailgates means more money. 175.
Right.
We need to get.
Just so everyone knows, I can spit. Just so everyone knows, I can spit this number out because I don't do any of this stuff. So
That's why I asked him.
175.
Go big or go home.
Playoff
There you
games
go,
last
Tony.
year. I mean, so yeah, that would have been a big booster to this too.
Sure.
So
100%.
some of it is how far we go.
Yeah, I mean, I think I want to hit on again here. This $160,000 is directly from you through the tailgates, through our duck races, through the podcast. So this is a huge number. But can you imagine all the other stuff that Who Dey Nation is doing as well? I mean, the 35,000 that was just for Ted Karras, the charity stuff there. So this is just all stuff tied to the pod, our social media platform, and the tailgate. So I'm going to tell you right now, for clarity, James, Jamie, Tony, me, Tom, and Craig, And Mark, we make $0, not a damn penny on this. And that's what I love about what we're doing here. So awesome. We appreciate everybody's help.
Is it possible to give Tom his own award this week for asking that question right now? For the first time ever, can we give him his own award?
Tom, talk about you being the asshole of the week. Let's go.
Make it so.
Well, for pushing charity in 2024, I accept this week. And I'll have to throw myself into the ring for the whole of the year, you know. But I would like to again applaud Tony for having the stones to go ahead and throw out a figure and a goal to help all those charities next year. You know, Craig
putting this up every time Tom talks.
And Jimmy got militant. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. Don't put that kind of pressure on me. So, what we found out tonight is Jimmy can't lead charity anymore, and he can't punt. So
I love the 100% grade A natural ingredients. All natural ingredients.
Hey,
Jimmy, let's thank our big sponsors, Skyline, Betfred, Donato.
Yes. Hell, I think we even have some of the logos. I want to, first of all, say in the upper right-hand corner at your view, I'd like to say thank you to Skyline Chili. They served over 10,000 conies, left-hand, wherever, 10,000 conies at the tailgate this year. That's just a massive amount of conies. Donato's Pizza, man, what a really fun company to work with. They were outstanding this year. Obviously, 16 lots. Our Vanna White up in the upper quarter of your screen. It was awesome. And Beer Fest Craig and Beer Fest, absolutely amazing to work with. And I'll tell you what, the sound system has been amazing, all because of Cincinnati Music Accelerator. We can't forget about
Jamie. But let's put Jamie big screen here. Hold on here.
Yeah,
we're gonna put Jamie big screen. If he's gonna Vanna White,
no, it's Craig.
Think about the improvement of 10,000 Skyline conies. Think about the improvement of 10,000 free Skyline conies over Jimmy cooking up some Gordon Food Service hot dogs and bringing them down.
Everything bagel, late in the year. Big B Coffee joined us. Guys, it was so fun, and I appreciate everybody going up to all these partners this year at the tailgate and thanking them the last game of the year this past Sunday. I had every one of those guys, every one of those partners come up and say, we appreciate it. We had such a fun time being here. Even I know that game Sunday, what I really loved about Sunday, it was cold, it was rainy, it was snowy. The game had no implications whatsoever. 65,000 plus, and the tailgate was packed. You love seeing that. And Craig, you went through all your margaritas, I think, right?
Yeah, we cleaned out on the margaritas, and I just remember Big B Coffee too. We did throw them a thank you too, because that certainly once it got cold, they were key.
Yep. And we got to mention one more thing here before we get to the 2-minute warning, guys. Tony was ruler of the jungle this past Sunday, and myself, Dell, Craig, and James presented Tony a 40-ounce of Patron with a straw, and Tony's favorite tequila, Patron. Craig went and picked that up.
That one's for the kids. Yeah, everything else about Tony's for the kids. That one's not for the kids.
That's for Tony when he Friday night, Saturday night sitting at home. But I tell you what, it's been fun at the tailgates. Tony's Tickets for Kids was a huge success. Again, got even bigger. And then to watch Tony up on stage, I just got a kick out of the whole damn thing, man. He killed it up there on stage for the ruler of the jungle. He even pointed out with the staff, if you saw it, Tom, with his right hand, he pointed to you in the north end zone.
Acknowledging the north end zone. Sam Hubbard's favorite end zone.
Yeah.
It's true.
That wasn't to Jake Browning's girlfriend you were pointing to, Tony?
It was not. No, it was definitely for Tom all the way.
I was impressed. He did it for 4 minutes. His stamina of screaming "Hooday" for 4 minutes of that song was really impressive.
Yeah, it was rough. This guy's there to help coach me, right? To tell me to keep going, and I'm winded. You know, like you said, three minutes into it, I'm dying, and he just keeps on telling me to scream and hype it up. But it was a lot of fun. It was a great honor to do that, and it was really enjoyable. Something I'll never
forget. Full house too.
Yeah, right.
It was correct. Right. All right. Last thing before we get to the 2-minute warning, time. I'm going to talk about. Hey, this is our final season episode, weekly episode. Kind of talk about our plans here move forward for the rest of the year until the season starts again?
Yeah, as we go into the offseason, like Jimmy said, the Bengals season is over, so we're going to wrap it up tonight. But please still follow any of us on social media, and we'll be staying in touch. One key thing that we'll be following, and you never know, we may even pop in with a special show. Willie Anderson is a semifinalist again for the Hall of Fame. Now, we all know he should have been in there long ago. So I think there'll be a vote in about a week for him to become a finalist, where his case will be made to all the voters. It'll be another step forward to him, but that's not enough. He needs to go in. So if you're out on social media, give him a mention. We just saw the incredible outpouring of support for Ted Karras, who became the Walter Payton Man of the Year today. Let's see that same kind of effort in support of Willie in coming weeks. But yeah, we'll be off for a little while. We will be back Sunday. We'll transition from Tuesdays to Sundays. Sunday night, March 10th. And that's a good day because the league season starts, I believe, the 13th, but legal tampering for free agency on the 11th. So we'll be on the 10th with either one or more good guests to forecast the Bengals in free agency, who they might be going after, who they might be staying away from, and what they've done with the franchise tag. So come back to us March 10th. We'll be with you every Sunday night through the draft into May, I think with the exception of Easter. So we'll look forward to seeing you then.
Yeah, appreciate it. So let's got to through here, pull out a 2-minute warning here. Don't know which way to go here. Anything else before we get to 2-minute warning, James?
No, that's perfect. Pick the right one here to end the year, Jimmy.
I would go with Carrie.
We've done Carrie twice, but let's do it again. God bless this woman for putting up with Tony the Tiger. But here's our 2-minute warning. Let's kick it off. Craig?
And apparently Carrie's mom was a big fan of the margaritas. So go ahead.
Yes, she was.
A lot of people were. Boy, did we go through a lot of margaritas. I think about 120 gallons this year, something like that. It's crazy.
Jeez.
I'm happy to rest. Not really. I've got 4 beer fests starting next weekend. Cincinnati Beer Fest, February 2nd and 3rd. We're going to set the whole tailgate thing up, so I hope to see people there.
And one quick thing, Craig. So everybody should over the next day or two, keep an eye on Cincy Beer Fest social media platforms because there's going to be some very special giveaways going on that I promise you're not going to want to miss, and hopefully you can be part of. So keep an eye on Cincy Beer Fest social media platforms. Let's go with Jamie.
Yeah, disappointed with the outcome of the season, but always fun to be here with you guys. Looking forward to coming back for next season. And it sucks when your team's out, but I still love football. Still want to watch the game. So I'm picking to cheer for the rest of the way. I'm pulling for the Texans and I'm pulling for the Lions. I'd love to see the Lions get one. Similar fan bases, blue collar guys, not a lot of success. Now all of a sudden, they're starting to see some success with the team. And I love the coach personally. I think the guy's got biggest balls in the league. So I just think it'd be great to see them win and just honestly to see somebody else win. Anybody but Mahomes. I definitely do not want to see anyone in our division win. And yeah, as salty as it is, I'm cheering against everyone in the AFC. And yeah, we'll see. Texans Lions would be great.
Hey, Jamie and I agree on a whole lot of stuff, but let me tell you something. We're on exactly the same page with that right there. His comment. I'm with you, Jamie.
What do you mean? We agree on a lot of stuff.
I'm just saying there's things we don't agree on, but that right there, we 100% we're on the same page.
Oh,
it's good stuff.
Right.
Tony?
Yeah, so I'm right there with you, Jamie. I am pulling for the Detroit Lions. Got to stay in the cat family. That's how I kind of look at it. So rooting for them. Want to say thank you to everyone who has supported me in the Fan of the Year this year. It's been a lot of fun, and I hope I can represent you guys very well. My fun continues. I'm going to the Super Bowl. Thanks for being Fan of the Year, and I'm looking forward to that, even though our team will not be there. I will do my best to have some fun in Vegas anyway. I want to say congrats again to our boy at Cincy, Ted Karras. And if you guys followed me, I made a commitment to Teddy. I actually talked to him last week, and I said I would get a Cincy tattoo, which I did that this afternoon once it was announced. So I'm pretty excited to have that tattoo on me and represent what the Cincy does and what
Where is it? Where is it?
It's right here. You can't see it; it's covered up. But I
was wondering if it was a tramp stamp or not.
It is not. It is not a tramp stamp.
Where does the wide lead?
But
is that hashtag that for today's show? Tramp stamp.
Yeah,
that's right. There's some people on social media that were actually talking about tramp stamps. So who knows? But again, appreciate everybody, and thank you guys. I'm looking forward to next year. Who day?
Tom,
I got to follow that. No, a big thank you to everybody who tunes in. It's you guys, the viewers. We don't have this. Actually, we do have this because we all talk all the time anyway. But you guys make it special, and there are so many ways you can spend your time following the Bengals to carve out a little time to hang out with us once a week. Truly, truly means a lot. So we'll be looking forward to everybody in the off season. Everybody stay healthy. We'll see you March 10th. And as for who I'm rooting for, I am rooting for whoever is playing the Steelers, the Browns, or the Ravens and their asshole coach. James?
You're still one asshole of the week, Tom. But anyways, I really thought we were going to go out with a bang this week. I thought Jamie was going to show up in his goat milk bath. I thought Craig was going to be in the hot tub. But we apparently went the G-rated route here for the season finale.
Remember how Jimmy and I don't agree on
back in 20 minutes.
That was one of the things Jimmy and I didn't agree on. Was me and the back.
I didn't want that to happen, James. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It would have got the ratings. I mean, you just simply shows with no sleeves on, and the ratings go through the roof. But I digress. Congratulations to Byron, who won the Bengal Gym Fantasy Football League. Jimmy once again finished in dead last. I think he beat Jamie this year for like the one win that he had. So congratulations. We won't talk about Tony's team since he's the fan of the year. But another fun thing we did. We'll do it again next year. Mon was the champion last season. Byron this year. So congratulations to him, and look forward to next year. I think as much as we need a break, we'll kind of sit back and revamp like the team's going to do. Go over what went good this year, what went bad, what we can improve on, and look forward to a lot of new and exciting things. And as always, we're an open book. If you have a suggestion, if you have an idea, whether it's for the tailgate or for the show, shoot us a message and let us know. We appreciate your input. We appreciate you, whether you're local or far away. We appreciate you tuning in or showing up at a tailgate and saying hi. So look forward to next year. Look forward to the off season. And Jimmy, go ahead and end it.
Yeah, this is for Craig. I am not a fan of of a lot of these teams, but you do got to congratulate Michigan, University of Michigan, on their national championship
What
game
happened
last night.
to you, Jimmy? What happened? Did you take some
Ann Arbor Gym?
Something? Where is this sellout?
The game wasn't even close.
I am talking to Sam Hubbard about you. I am going to talk to him.
It wasn't even close.
I didn't say I liked them. Just congratulating the Michigan Wolverines.
You like cheaters? I don't know.
Jamie, you don't even. Jamie doesn't even watch college football. You can't even talk.
He's going to start.
I watched last few weeks. I watched last night. It wasn't even close.
Look who's
Jimmy,
in.
Jimmy, if they take that national championship trophy away from them, are you going to rescind those comments?
Yeah, look, it is. They won the national championship. Craig is beat red. Right now he's pissed as hell at me. I'll get a text later cussing me out, but congratulations to Michigan. But anyway,
Ann Arbor Jim. I'm gonna get a jersey made with that next year.
Look, we're not done here. We still got Jungle to the Hall 4 coming up here at some point. We're working on the details of that now. We got the draft. We got free agency. We got a lot of off-season activity. We got Hall of Fame discussion with Willie Anderson. The vote we think is supposed to happen to get from 15 down to 10 on January 16th. And then it's closer to the Super Bowl. they get down to their final 5 that they're going to push into the Hall of Fame. Guys, it has been another pleasure. Working with everybody down at the tailgate, meeting everybody, having fun pregame, fun down at the tailgate prior to going to the stadium, home and away. We have our away schedule already out. We're just waiting for those dates to come out, and we'll lock up some stuff for the away games as well. But we appreciate everybody tuning in all year. The numbers keep going through the roof, and it's because of you guys watching a bunch of idiots on the screen here, having fun with you guys. We appreciate you guys being with us. Thank you so much. It really means a lot, you guys tuning in. We love you guys. Hoo day, everybody.
Hoo day.
Good day.
Good day.